Officer, it's a fine day for questions.
She puts her coffee cup down with a soft ring as the porcelain meets the metal table. This does not surprise her.
Did he? I never said he was a good man, or that he had good intentions, only that he was never bad to me. Where did they get this recording exactly?
It's intercepted radio chatter of the deceased, recorded via a de-encryption station. It's authentic enough.
Does he say he's gonna do it Soldier of the Apocalypse style?
The phrase was used.
Yeah. That was practically his pickup line. Did he say whores a lot? Was he pretty much on the verge of doing it Cohoy style? He wasn't actually there. He didn't do a tour, or at least didn't tell me he did. Would have been overkill anyway. He lived his own little Cohoy. It wasn't his everything. No, I'm pretty sure he did all those things, and then had to internalize them to keep on living, until they just sort of turn into his, what's the word I'm looking for? Running joke. I was gonna say running joke. And it sounds like you didn't even get the good bits. Lely's punchlines got way, way funkier than that. He was like the Seminese conflict, the Cohoy massacre, and the 36 famine in Yezud all rolled into one person, then cast in Orani ceramic armor, which he wore in bed and in the shower.
When he said he was done, and done mentally, it didn't sound like a joke. It sounded like a deeply troubled man.
Afraid of what? That tape the Hardy Boys recorded? Your mother probably never told you this, but girls are evil. Had I the physical robustness and social support, I'd be in Cohoy. I would be tearing it up Soldier of the Apocalypse style.
Did he tell you he had actually done any of those things? He and Martinez, I mean?
No. We were too busy laying waste to our own nervous systems to direct any of the fury outward. He seemed happy, I guess. At ease. As much as a man like him could be.
There is a small measure of pride in her that she could quell the rage in such a being. What kind of man was he? Before you go, ask for details. She seems okay to talk about it.
Thank you for clearing that up, miss. Whenever you're ready. I'm interested to hear what Titus Hardy has to say now.
She takes a very small sip of her coffee and smiles.
Like, for example...
Actually, officer, I didn't know his name. I just called him Lely.
A nickname?
I guess. He came from Lelystad. It's short for that. And it was his army name, apparently. He said his real name wasn't his. I tried to pry it out of him, but it was no use.
Lelystad. That's a good start. We have a few questions you can help us with. A few things a field autopsy alone can't answer.
The young woman cranes her neck, trying to catch a glimpse of the page the lieutenant passed to you. On it is a list of autopsy observations recorded neatly in blue ink. The last missing pieces of a puzzle of flesh.
Oh.
It's clear she liked it.
Quite a lot, yes. It was a map of his life and the places he visited as a soldier. It was mostly for showing off to chicks, though. How? Imagine him lying in bed. Freakish musculature laid out on the sheets. Scarred, of course. Tattooed. The sheets are dirty for some reason. He's smoking and drinking, of course. And his chest and shoulders and arms are studded with stars. Tens, hundreds of them. Maybe even thousands. And the woman goes like, "What was this, baby?" And he says, "That was too hardcore. Don't ask me about that." So she goes, "Okay, but what's this, baby?" And he's like, "Saw some bat shit there. Killed some loincloths." And so it goes. Star after star. Port after port. Third world country after third world country. And he's done horrible things in every single one of them. Oh, yeah. No, thank you. I've seen enough of him dead. I can tell you what they meant without looking at them.
Go on.
He was a blue-eyed boy with thick arms, from a small town. He was also poor, and the government of Oranje needed some people killed, so they turned him into a grotesque killer. For money. He went to Killer Academy in Vredefort. Then he killed some people on the Semenine Islands. And on other islands, too. All of the islands. After this, he came to Revachol and got killed himself. It is when you're high. It can be very exciting then. You have the tools to deal with it. It's not a very nice story to remember when you're sober. A change of topic? In Oranje, officer. It's, I think municipality is the term. A nowhere town there.
You were almost right, officer. That means his race was Occidental, not Mondial. I'll update the form.
Her eyes follow yours on the piece of paper. She doesn't mind this questioning. On the contrary, she enjoys thinking back to him now. This is a sort of wake for her.
It very well could be, yes. What do I mean? I have no idea. I don't even know what you mean. Love did him in? What does that mean? That's not funny, officer.
Her voice is like a slash through the air. Her shoulders tense up.
Why do you ask? Well, it's wrong. He had too many drinks to down and too many bad things to do. Couldn't tap out just yet.
Everything checks out here. It's all A-OK. Good answer.
He was 42.
42? Are you sure?
He had many scars that made him appear older. But no, we even celebrated his birthday like some weeks ago. It was a funny 2 days. He had little reason to lie to me.
We were slightly off then. Thank you for clearing it up.
Yes. Light blue. They were like little blue galaxies. It was strange, seeing those eyes in his fucked up face. Pardon the swearing. I do him an injustice. He wasn't ugly. And he had a beautiful, soft voice. Very surprising, what with all the scarring. It was quite something, watching him speak.
He had a combat wound on his chin and mouth?
Yes. Severe. It made him look like half his face was cracking away in some strange smile. That and those eyes.
Ah, yes. His hair, if you can remember?
It was light brown, almost blonde. He darkened it with brilliantine, made it oily. Not nice to stroke. I couldn't convince him to leave it alone.
The young woman nods.
All right.
Coolly, gracefully, she pours herself more coffee.
Yeah? You tell me, officer. I've been trying to open it, in case the contamination gets to the roof and I have to move on. No luck. Thank you. I've put a lot of time and effort into it.
Technically, possession of narcotics is legal in Revachol, but you should still reprimand her. No, don't listen to the stiff. Be cool.
I always heard you RCM guys were cool. You are. It is.
The lieutenant makes a note in his note. He finds the answer unsatisfying.
All right. Clasier Amondu. Vredefort, Republic of Oranje. A bad memory, officer. Of lilacs and lightning. Parks, glass. Duraluminium. Vredefort is a conference city. It's always autumn there. And night. At least it was for me.
What's so bad about that?
Nothing. If you're no longer there.
The conference centers are filled with people who get angry at you if you do something wrong.
Sooner or later, everyone does. Something stupid.
Wanna hear what's stupid? Somewhere in a one-room apartment on Boogie Street, a young man shows Patrol Officer Tilbrook his genital warts, asking if they're cancer. His partner, Emil Mullins, can't be there. He's in another apartment with another man who's showing him a dead dog under the radiator. It's dead, Mullins says. No, the man replies. I touched him. He's warm. He's warm, Mullins replies, because he's under the radiator.
No. More stupid. Oranese lit. Oranese literature. It's what I studied at the university. Fear of failure, fear of death, how it sucks to be Oranese. All national literatures are... only the name of the nation changes.
If that's true, then Revacholian lit would fit you like a glove.
Nothing. I do nothing with it. It's not very cool, but what can you do? I'm 28. I'm afraid you can't, officer.
Why is that?
Because it's buried in a sealed plastic bag at an undisclosed location on the coast, along with cash and airline tickets.
Thank you for your candor.
They say so in your tourist brochure. Keep travel documents away from your person when west of the river. If I were to lie to you, I would come up with a more mainstream name than Clausia Mondu. It's a weird name. Okie dokie.
If any of this made her nervous, it certainly doesn't show in her expression or her movements.
The record. So official.
She looks back. Time moves slowly. The triangles of her face rearranging into a weary smile. Don't worry. We will protect you from her beauty. We will consult you through the reefs and sounds of her persona. We will see through deceits. You are shielded. You are wise. You are advised. There are muscles on long white bones that line her limbs, just below the silver jumpsuit. Nothing, just time passing. Don't worry. Anything out of the ordinary and you would be notified. Air moves in your windpipe. Your heart beats. You're a detective. Get back to detecting. She presses her elbows against her waist and slowly turns her head. Her hair brushes her shoulders, making a small hissing sound, almost imperceptible. The strange moment ends. It was brief, no longer than 2.2 seconds. Wait, stop. That man, bloated beyond all recognition, was 42? Below the damage, the weeks of decomposition, all the swollen indignity of mortality. He was 42 years old? How old are you? That's where this is going. 45,000 liters of raw alcohol has left its disfigurements. What lies beneath, you wonder? You could ask either one of them.
Huh. How old do I think you are? I don't know. 1, 2. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. How old is a newborn cop who doesn't remember he's a cop?
You're not.
Sure he is. You know, age is just a number.
Yes, but for him that number is higher than 45.
Wait. This requires scientific measurements. To the laboratorium. This window is
The clowns are still hanging around. What is it now? Anne. That fucking fucker. You're the worst cops in Revachol. I gave you gold on that tape. Dark is when you start a goddamn death rock band. He said he'd rape her.
Sounds like he wanted it to change her mind about the hanged man. This is definitely personal.
What did she have to say then? Fine by her? This is what people are supposed to be like? Fucking whoop-de-doo.
Yes. In fact, I think she thought it was a little funny.
Funny? No good goddamn psycho whore. Alright. All fucking righty then. I guess it's good then. That fucking...
Please try to control yourself in the presence of visitors, Titus.
This is just perfect. Just fucking perfect. Any thoughts on this, lawmen? Nah, I know her. She's just a girl. In over her head. Yeah, you're right about that. She takes way too many drugs.
Well, it's as they say. You can't do anything with an underdose.
Yeah, but I mean, she has an actual drug problem. Not like you. Not like us. I don't think I've ever seen her sober.
Yeah, they're all queers. Can't bump, hard fist, or anything.
That's all right, Glenn. I just thought I thought anyone would come around if they heard that shit. Apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, that was fucked up.
He wanted her to see the man for what he was. Now that you know, you might want to lay off this topic, or else you might antagonize him.
I just got too worked up. Big man lost his shit. It's cool now. I already told you. We fucking hanged him.
There's less gusto in his voice now. His men too are growing increasingly silent.
Come on, Titus. It's been a long day. I'm tired of running back and forth between you. I can see you're tired too. Why don't you just...
You know what? I am tired. I'm tired of you and the whore upstairs. Next time you see her, tell her Titus said, "Fuck on!" That lying, scamming. We're done. This is over. You understand? Your little investigation is over.
Yeah.
On the floor, beer drips out of the can into a small puddle. No one does anything about it.
What is this quiet funeral shit? All we need is some beers in us. Bartender, 20 beers for the Dock Workers Union.
Why do we make it 40, huh? Why do we make it 100 beers? You're not loud enough.
100 beers? Now we're talking. Hoppity hop over here, cafeteria manager.
Clausia is playing them like a fiddle. Tell them how bad they got played, and they'll tell you the truth. There are many ways to go about it. All of them really good.
What the hell are you talking about? Look around, cop. These men are dock workers. They don't want to hear about your psycho circus.
I don't know, boss. I'm always up for another suicide attempt.
Yeah, me too. I'm always up to see a cop cry.
You won't hear it. That's enough for the circus now, officer. Let's do procedural questions, or even, why not take a little breather?
These working class oafs don't know how to talk about feelings. You shouldn't have opened up to them, or anyone. Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? No. And I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything else? 57?
In the cabin, you see a set of steering.
purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
As Rene turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly. 2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue striped triangle. A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below.
For bravery.
It's a conflicted topic for the old veteran. There must have been a number of controversial episodes in his service days.
For doing my duty in the heat of battle, for looking my mortality in the eye, when men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shot themselves.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frisel thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest. Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatoo feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Couronne. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw, then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee. I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnoux, le fléau des chevaux.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolles Drisson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. So I grabbed the dink and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the Jolles freak convinced Frisel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood. Piece and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty. Just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drizant. 2 days, and that even whilst crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't hand this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot, repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand. Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men, too. True Revacholians. Men with backbone.
Oh yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be anything worth mentioning among your achievements. You should resort to good old lying. But of course, sire. Looks like they're waiting for you to speak. It's clear you like the hard stuff, Broter. Lower intestine? The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Broter. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachol's problems? Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. The weak link. Yes, them, but also Women. Women, men of war. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Woo men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that woo men need to know their place. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking. You're going to keep your vooz, right? Keep your vooz, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment.
lights are so pretty when it gets dark.
You fail to deduce anything substantial. She waits intently.
It's okay, sir.
The ledger you found in the trash, a cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's barely held together by a clip, then made complete by the faint smell of urinal cleaner. Yes, at last, you find a way to piece them together using the alphanumeric code on the margin. HDB-41, date of initialization and time of arrival on the scene, followed by the title. For example, HDB 41120111700, the Next World Mural. Why, yes, your precinct number is 41. Every last alphanumeric in the files begins with it. And these are your case files. It's safe to say HDB are your initials. Harry Dubois, HDB. Still feels like there's something missing from that. This one is relatively easy to reconstruct. Overnight on 1202, a graffito, nay, a mural, appears on an 8-story tenement overlooking central Jamrock. The building is a sparsely inhabited ghost tower, part of a failed real estate development called Grand Couronne. The mural is enormous. 2 silhouettes, a man and a woman, are kissing. The text cut into their form reads, "True love is possible only in the next world. For new people, it is too late for us. Wreak havoc on the middle class. People call it that thing and that fucking thing. It's visible for miles. In 2 days, the station's complaints desk gets clogged with requests to remove the bummer. You and your partner are assigned to the case. The graffito crew is easy to track down. Only the belles lettres have the literage of industrial paint to cover the surface. One of the graffito artists is rumored to be rich. They take responsibility for the execution, but not the design. The ideologue of the Next World Mural, as the crew calls it, remains an unknown. The case files do not show you finding the author of the design. The crew agrees to clean up after themselves. However, your partner, JV, is against the removal, citing public support for conservation. This leads to a debate in Precinct 41, which then spreads to the streets of Jamrock, ending in a rare plebiscite organized by you and the rest of Row 3. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural's message, all of Lakeside, Central Jamrock, and Villalobos, plus half of the eminent domain, participate in the vote. Although the case begins with what appears to be a lot of rambling on the streets as to how juvenile and stupid the mural is, given a choice between 2 options. A staggering 78% of voters choose to keep it. Turns out the opposition were a loud minority. And that love truly is possible in the next world for new people. And it is too late for us. Did anyone ask you what you believe in, man with the smelly toilet ledger? What do you want to tackle next? Or are we done? AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it, it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man. And you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which, in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. You would think that, but you're wrong. Where's the fun in exposing your genitals or breaking stuff in your own home? No, Leslie and Burke are on the corner of Main Street and Perdition, because that's where the action is. Can you keep yourself off the streets, threatening fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol, so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street. Because there they are, on the corner of Perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who at this point is tending to Burke. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore, can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke, who knows, but both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved, which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? Not much has changed in the meanwhile. A bunch of sodden papers still sags from the clipboard. Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide. Oh yeah, like a horse, a workhorse, for hard work. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like, life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas. It ain't easy, but you do it, day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer. You didn't log that in as a donation either. You don't log any of that shit in. You're a straight rider. Yeah, you're in the sales business. Shake 'em for shit and then pawn it off. Law officer style. Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth? But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Every time you wipe your ass, they got their direct and their indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax, alimony, one tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you. Here, total tax duties add up to 98% of all your money. What are you not sure about? They're milking your nipples till they bleed. Can't you see? Aren't you sick and tired of having bloody nipples? It's all about the tax issue, hustler. No other problem in the world is as pressing as top marginal tax rates. And don't you fucking forget it. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Gendarmerie, you found me.
His slender figure is backlit by city lights, its distant streets and motorways flashing like diamonds. It feels like a Friday. He seems to be in a good mood tonight.
Beautiful. So tell me, are you here to make things right again? Beautiful. I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up one by one. Downstairs, a cat crosses the yard, disappearing into the bush.
Besides, I've got to run.
He's going to leave you alone again. That's sad. Something tells you you're never going to talk to an individual this cool or mysterious ever again.
Just look at it. It's a beautiful night. Who's going to stay in on a night like this?
A man on high heels stumbles out of a basement club, music blasting over the entire district. It's chilly, and as the chemicals hit his nervous system, 1,000 shivers ripple through his body. Something flutters in the corner of the lieutenant's mouth as you're saying those words.
We'll talk. Just not tonight. Take care, all right?
And he's gone again. Looks like it's becoming a theme for him.
Different, of course. Something so mysterious about the way he talks. Very.
He's barely holding it together. It's all he can do to keep from bursting out in laughter.
Come on, detective, let's go. We've got a potential witness to interview. His Sunday friend, remember?
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
His hands are clean and well manicured. This is a man who knows the importance of appearances.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Sur-la-Clé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging.
No, first ask an innocuous personal question to get the interview off on the right foot.
Oh, we got it from an atelier in the East Delta Commerce Center. Personally, I think it's a little culturally insensitive, but the material is great. Sadly, the shop is now out of business. That's really all I can tell you about it.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and nods to you to proceed.
The coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. It is the most important thing. It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stability is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment. Which is essential for maintaining the social stability.
Basically, it makes sure the price of bread doesn't change.
Précisément. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, it becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stabilité works to keep inflation just below 2%. But not too far below, no. Too below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%. The coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stability. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet? A sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'être of the moral intern. It's the reason why I identify as a moralist. But oh, I don't have my leaflets on me today. That's too bad. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the moral intern's commitment to transparency. Yes, as I said before, I am a commissioner from Sur-la-Clé working for the Institute of Price Stabilité. Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here. La communauté internationale is what Revacholians colloquially call the coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster of the revolution. Your employer, technically speaking. The governing authority of Revachol. The RCM is but one part of this provisional administration. What's there to say? Sur-la-Clé is a modern, urbanized country that measures very high on the Human Development and Freedom Index. Mostly, though, it's known as the executive heart of EPIS. Moreover, it is a great sponsor of less emerged countries. Because a great percentage of Revachol's culture hails from Sur-la-Clé. Its language, its people, its cuisine even. Or at least in the downtown La Delta area.
Jamrock and other parts of the international zone have been mercifully spared of Sur-la-Clé's love for meatballs and mashed potatoes.
It's the International Organization for Moralists. Hence, Moralist International. The Institute of Price Stability is just one of its many mind babies, as is the Coalition. But of course, because moralists believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values.
Me?
You've managed to catch the lieutenant off guard, but only for a moment. He quickly recomposes himself.
I'm a lieutenant of the RCM. Dedicated to maintaining law and order in Revachol.
A very moralist answer.
The lieutenant is practiced in the art of putting on a show for one's superiors.
The Occident is part of the normal world. Oranje, Sur-la-Clé. Martinez? No. Martinez is something else. Revachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means it hasn't yet achieved full democracy. But they are working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking. Is this option D usually the most reasonable answer? Sounds like you're a moralist indeed, my friend. Welcome. Moralism is all about compromise and achieving the achievable. It's pragmatic, realistic, and level-headed, an ideology for doers. Are you a doer, my friend? Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? Whatever you wish, officer. I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play.
What do you mean, like in a play?
It was just so strange. I could barely comprehend what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood. I should not be seeing this.
Sounds like the victim was unconscious, or at least incapacitated. Interesting.
I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8?
The lieutenant sends you a sharp look at the mention of that number.
I went back inside.
Were you able to see anything from inside?
Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man. All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly. I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them. And I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent. Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add.
About what time was all this happening, approximately?
All I can say is that it was late. My watch. Yes, now I remember. It was 30 minutes past midnight, give or take. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Of course, anything I can do to assist the RCM. Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the Insulindian Isola? Oil platforms ablaze in the night? Civil wars lasting for years? Finally, the international community is forced to step in. Au contraire, it's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend too. Sorry, who? But I told you, officer. He's a bright young man here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It is a cornerstone of our civilization. Officer, you have to understand. I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods and databases, right? He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes. He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. I'm just enjoying the view. Listen.
A baby is crying in the neighboring apartment.
No, listen. The Insulindian Bay. This place used to be a luxury accommodation before the revolution. Apartments, of course, were much bigger then. A few walls have been added here and there, leaving some of the tenants without a private bathroom or a kitchen. But the million real view stays. You can't take that away. My friend comes and goes. I'm sure you've seen him around. He's a busy bee. Kedra is a candidate member of APIS. But, between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue. That it's never going to happen. They enter negotiations in 21, and it's been pending ever since. EPIS is a very special program developed by the Moral Intern to support certain Occidental nations. It began as a unified system of weights and measures, which proved to be a wild success. Nothing but kilograms and centimeters as far as the eye can see.
God, yes. Sweet standardization. The backbone of rationality and commerce.
It was such a wild success that we expanded it into an economic union for the processing of steel. Another success. And between you and me, the Moral Intern feels emboldened by this success. Emboldened to take EPIS to the next level. Why, it stands for progress and stability, like the Moral Intern as a whole. It's been such a wild, extraordinary success thus far. We are very excited to take it to the next level. A supranational political alliance. You mean Revachol? No, it's going to have transparent democracy. It's one day going to be a candidate member of EPIS, sure. No, candidate members do become members. Why do we even have the whole system in place if they don't? It just takes time. Time and evaluation. But we were talking about my friend here, not politics. I'm all ears, officer. A moment of do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave. It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well.
That's not the real reason he's so apprehensive. Men in his position shouldn't be seen loitering around in underprivileged young men's apartments in the middle of the night.
Of course. I'm glad I could help.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito and bullet holes in the front. You take the legal documents out of the envelope, a 12 to 40 month construction period and the zoning plan in the addendum. The youth center cuts into the ocean like the bow of some
Yes?
You take the legal documents out of the envelope. At the youth center, cut the youth center, cut. The bear's eyes are still glowing red. The body is reluctant to let go of the boots. Whatever you're planning to do, you need to do it before you catch pneumonia in the cold draft coming from deep inside the fridge. It's not completely useless. You're able to reveal a little more of the putrid polymer sock beneath the boot. It feels like the leg is going to come off along with the boot, but you're able to get the boot to move a centimeter or two. See? The corpse doesn't care if you try to take his boots. He doesn't need them. He's probably glad to get rid of them. He's too heavy to move by yourself, a great mass of dead muscles, with hoarfrost covering his milky eyes. This is the right method. It takes some time, but eventually the boots come off, with nasty slices of polymer sock stuck to even bigger pieces of skin and rotting flesh. Not good. Let's pin this on the bear. The ice bear tore up his legs with its claws. As for the boots, you can't possibly do anything with them until you've cleaned and disinfected them thoroughly. Yes, these absolutely need to be washed before. The stink is incredible. Didn't the Whirling have a kitchen? This orange machine is dead still. This industrial gas-powered stove has been used to prepare food for many hungry hostel guests. There are several pots and pans on hand. Getting the corpse residue out of these boots is going to require patience, and also a huge pot full of boiling water, soap, and white vinegar. There is a variety of soaps and bleaches in the cabinet to the left of the stove. There is also a bottle of white vinegar in the cabinet next to the fridge. It's bad with those boots. Don't be stingy now. The delicious smells of cheap soap and vinegar waft up from the pot. All right now, chef, light up the stove and boil them. The strong smell of vinegar forces you to step away from the pot. The water slowly comes to a boil. Strips of polymer fabric and human tissue separate from the lining of the boots. They float to the bubbling surface. The boots look cleaner and cleaner. Those bits of human flesh are beginning to look cooked. You can smell it too, just like beef stew. That's it, chef. The boots are as clean as they're going to get. Steam, dense with the smell of strange meat, disappears into the vent above the stove. A pair of real beauties. The boots are shiny, hot, and reek of vinegar. Just perfect. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. The door does not The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's yours. You've earned it. The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bird. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately. Every cell in your body is moaning in agony, asking, what did we ever do to you?
Now, you're finally thinking about something other than yourself. Let's see how far that'll get you.
Oh yes, that'll check you out, give you some pills, make it all okay. The Wonder Maker.
Don't be stupid, Harry. It's not happening. They don't make new kidneys and livers in hospital. All you've got to do is pray to God it passes and stare at the flickering darkness.
You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that?
Oh, baby boy, you're already in the other place. There's no nourishment for you tonight. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe if you know, like, took a lot of drugs before you go to sleep, that'd do the trick. Maybe if you cracked the damn thing, then you'd feel satisfied and tired, holding the picture puzzle in your hands, complete. Maybe if you weren't so hard on yourself.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.